You say yes to almost everything, and you tell yourself it's because you're a generous person. But somewhere underneath that, you're scared of what happens if you don't. You're scared of the look on their face, the shift in the room, the possibility that saying no means losing something. And if that's been running your life, this is about that. You probably grew up somewhere where your job was to pay attention. Maybe your parents were overwhelmed or unpredictable, or just angry a lot. The specifics don't matter as much as what you took from it. What you took was this. Your safety depended on reading the room. You got good at it fast. You could feel a shift in someone's mood the second they walked through the door, before they said anything, before anything even happened. Your body would just know, your shoulders would tighten. Your voice would change. You learned to be small and useful and easy to have around, because that kept things from getting worse, and that worked, but it cost something. Because you also needed to matter, not just survive. So you figured out that being helpful was how you got that. Anticipating what someone wanted before they asked. Solving the problem before it became a problem. Making yourself the kind of person no one would want to be without. That felt like love, close enough that you accepted it. And slowly, without anyone saying it out loud, you started to believe that your worth was tied to what you could do for people. That useful meant wanted. That wanted meant safe. Maybe you were the one keeping the peace. Maybe you were taking care of a parent while still being a kid yourself. Maybe you just learned to mold yourself into whatever shape the room needed. The specific situation was different for everyone, but what you walked away with was the same. Your own needs were a problem to deal with later, or just not deal with at all. Selfish even. None of these things came with a warning label. It all made sense at the time. To feel safe, you had to be useful, so you learned to notice other people's needs before you registered your own. You learned that your needs could wait or be skipped entirely. You learned that yes was how you kept people close, and no was how you lost them. Now you're older. You say yes to things that exhaust you before they even start. You volunteer for things at work that stack up until you can't see over them. You sit with someone's problems for hours because leaving feels like abandoning them. You say yes to a favor you can't actually do well because the person asking sounded desperate, and that sound does something to you. And each time there's this small interior tightening, like something's being compressed. You tell yourself it's generosity. You tell yourself this is what good people do. But there's another voice underneath that, quieter and more honest, that's been keeping a running tab. That voice is tired. That voice is, if you're being real, a little resentful, even though you hate that you feel that way. What's actually happening underneath all of this has a name. Psychologists call it the fawn response. In plain terms, it's when your nervous system learns that the safest move in an uncertain situation is to make other people comfortable. Not fight, not run, not freeze, but appease. Become agreeable. Become easy. Become useful. You've probably heard of fight, flight, and freeze. Fawn is the fourth one, and it's the one that gets missed the most because from the outside it just looks like someone being nice. When you're fawning, your nervous system isn't running the I'm safe program. It's running something closer to, I need to make sure this person is okay with me, or something bad might happen. You're not necessarily feeling scared, it happens below that. But your whole system is tuned outward, scanning, adjusting, anticipating, reading the room before you've even walked all the way into it. That response wasn't a flaw. In the environment where you learned it, it was actually pretty smart. If you grew up somewhere unpredictable, where someone's mood could change the whole temperature of a room, being able to read people and adjust quickly did keep you safer. The problem is that your nervous system doesn't automatically update when your circumstances do. You grow up. You leave. You end up in relationships with people who aren't trying to hurt you. But your body is still running the old version of the program, the one that treats someone else's disappointment as a warning sign, a possible threat. So you keep fawning, you keep adjusting, you keep saying yes. And every time you do, you're sending your own nervous system the same message. Your needs come after everyone else's. Keep the peace. Stay useful. Your nervous system takes that seriously. It learns. It decides this is just how things work. The fawn response was never really about being nice, though. Look at it closely and you'll see what it actually was. A way of making yourself small enough to stay safe. And small isn't the same as safe, it just felt that way because it was the closest thing available. Actual safety, the kind that doesn't cost you anything. Looks like being able to say what you want and have it land without catastrophe. Knowing that someone can be disappointed in you and not disappear. Trusting that your needs aren't a problem to be managed. That's not something you were handed. For a lot of people, it's something that has to be built slowly, mostly by testing whether the world actually ends when you say no. It doesn't end. But you have to find that out for yourself because your body doesn't believe it yet. So here's something small you can actually try. It's about learning the difference between a yes that comes from wanting and a yes that comes from fear, and then tolerating. Just barely at first, at letting someone be disappointed and staying in the room anyway. Is there a tightness somewhere? A low-level resistance? Are you saying yes because you want to, or because you're already running the math on what happens if you don't? You don't even have to change your answer. Say yes if that's what you decide, but do it as a decision, not a reflex. That gap between the ask and your response, that's where you start to find out what you actually want. The harder thing, and the one that matters more, is finding something to say no to. Keep it low stakes, not a confrontation, not some big stand. Just a request that doesn't really need to be yes. And practice what happens after. Let someone be a little disappointed, feel the anxiety come up, because it will, and stay with it. See that you're still here, see that the relationship doesn't collapse. But it's been fear doing most of the work, a survival strategy that made complete sense at some point, and has just outlasted its usefulness. Every yes you didn't actually mean was a no you handed your own life. Every yes that cost you a piece of yourself. It was never really yours anyway. It belonged to the version of you who needed to say anything necessary to stay safe somewhere that wasn't safe. But you're not there anymore. You can say no now. And the people who genuinely can't handle that, who need you to keep shrinking so they can stay comfortable, they're telling you exactly what your value is to them. More of this every week on Apophenia. If you want to keep going, there's a lot here that connects to other things we've talked about. And I think you'll find it. There's more of this on Apophenia every week. Well, if you want to keep going, you'll find it here. And if any of this felt like it was describing you or someone you know, drop a comment. Like, subscribe, share it with someone who needs the permission to say no,